morning, or good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is for you. It's awesome to virtually be together with you. I miss you guys a lot. I've had a request to do a little meditation practice with breathing. So breathing is always the key thing that I talk about in all our classes. Our breath is the most important thing. Our breath helps link our movements and our prana, the energy that flows through the body. It helps us to connect the mind and the body together. I know the less active we are, the more that we're sitting around, the more that we are part of a historic event that kind of has us in our head a lot, right? So we are maybe not quite as physically active. We are thinking a lot more. We might be reading a lot more, and there can be, not always, but there can be a little bit of a disconnect with the rest of the body. So meditation with the breath helps us to maneuver through here. Now, traditionally, when I personally do my seated practice, most times I have already moved my spine in 7 ways. I have done at least a short, say 6-minute movement asana practice before coming to my seat. When I sit, you can use a chair. You could put your back up against the wall. If I'm going to meditate for a length of time, I will bring my folded blanket underneath me and a block. That will support just this low part of the back so that the rest of my spine has to stay upright, but it has just enough support to make it easy to sit there for a length of time. So let's just talk about that. Let's move the spine a little bit, and then I'm going to have us do a breathing exercise where you can be seated upright like this. You could be seated up against the wall. You could be seated in a chair, or you could be reclining on your back. I personally find I do the best when I'm lying on my back, but it's not that significant. It really doesn't matter. And if you were having any kind of impaired breathing, I would not want you to lie flat on your back. I would definitely want you to be upright. The only thing I request is that you do not do this while standing. Most breathing practices can make you feel a little lightheaded. You are going to feel a real shift of energy, and you could feel some tingling in the body, and you might feel some pressure building up in the head that could make you, lose your balance. So definitely choose a sturdy seat or recline. Okay, enough of that. Let's get moving. All right, so let's inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, take a gentle twist, small twist to start to the left. And then inhale, sweep the arms up. And twist gently to the right. Sweep up. Exhale, let the left hand touch down, and then take a little side reach. I want you just to feel like you were fanning these rib cages apart here on the right side of the body. We're reaching a little bit further with this right arm. The left hand is supporting us. And we want to breathe. And then come back up. Gently and slowly set it up on the other side. Super slow. And then you're just fanning out the left ribs. You can gaze up towards this left crook of your arm. Or if your neck is not feeling great today, gaze down towards your right hand and right knee. But we will get a little shift in our energy already if we're able to comfortably gaze up. And then I want you to gaze forward, bring that hand down, and sit tall. We're going to do a little breath work before we move more. So we're going to bring the left hand to the belly, the right hand to the heart. And I want you to soften the belly. Start breathing into the belly. And each round the breath, notice the expansion. You want to get into the side ribs and feel the back ribs expanding up towards your collarbone. At the end of your exhale, see if you can squeeze a little more air out. And then begin again. Full exhale. Do that little pause at the end of the exhale. Squeeze a little more out. And again, inhale. And exhale. Squeeze out the breath. Bring your hands to your lap. I want to pause, and it's important for us to set an intention. Think about how you want to feel. If you're not sure of a good intention to set, something that is grounding and balancing and kind of universal. It is well. So we want to tell ourselves what we want to have happen, not a wish, not a, oh, I would like this. It is. It is. It's like thanking God in advance for what you need, right? So we are claiming and thanking and feeling the deep knowing within that it is well with our body, it is well with our mind, it is well with our spirit, our emotions. Phrase it how it seems best to you, or come up with one that really resonates for you. Maybe you're feeling lonely, and for you, connection is what's most important. So I am connected to those around me. I am still connected to my family, whatever that is. Just claim it, thank, have gratitude. Good, now let's move again. This time we're going to inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Interlace the fingers, flip the palms towards the ceiling. I want you to feel like you can really rock from side to side, root down into your sit bones. And then as we push down, we're going to lengthen up. Reach for that tall shelf above you. And now I want you to feel like you're creating a tiny bit of space between each of the vertebrae and the ribs. So we're lengthening the spine. This is the seventh direction that we often forget about, the lengthening. And then exhale, we're going to release the hands down by the side. Bring the hands behind us, one at a time. A little bit of a rolling back of the shoulders. Puff out the chest. And then you can either gaze down the lap towards, gazing over the chest, or again, you have the option of lifting your gaze, lengthening the distance between your chin and your sternum, increasing your energy. Really breathing from the belly all the way up to the chest. So we're in a little mini back bend. Now turn your gaze down towards your lap. Push into your right hand. Release one hand at a time to your lap. Good. I want us to zip up tall. And now we're going to reach the arms up. And bring the hands forward into a forward fold. They might just come to your knees, and that's okay. Just tuck your chins right around your spine a little bit. If you can walk further and keep the spine lengthening further as you lower, that's my ideal, but it does not matter where you're at. You just want to be cautious. So as we practice, each time we come to our chair, each time we come to our mat, we are checking in internally. We are deepening our ability to listen within, our ability to listen and adjust. So we can adjust the pose, we can adjust our breath, and then we can use this knowledge to go ahead and come back upright to seated. We can use the same knowledge throughout our day. What do I need to adjust now based on me taking a moment to breathe and check in with myself? So if I'm doing that maybe before I have lunchtime and I'm checking in and listening to my breathing, I'm listening internally to how I'm feeling, and I'm feeling awful. I'm feeling disconnected, or I'm feeling low in energy. What could I do? What little tweak could I make if I'm doing that deep listening to change that outcome, right? So I could do some vigorous breathing, I could do some movement, I can do some marching, and I can get my energy up a little bit. If I'm feeling sad or disconnected, I could reach out to someone and make a phone call or talk to someone. Something to make me feel a little more connected. I could instead, sometimes, and this is the thing that we often don't think about, sometimes I need to then say, maybe I need to do some nice gesture, kind gesture for someone else. And that can lift our spirits and our energy quite a bit. So, get creative if you've got a photography skill, a talent, if you have a sewing talent, a card making talent. Do some of that and then, reach out and provide it to someone else, and you'll really lift their spirits as well. Okay, so now let's continue. Reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, take one more twist to the left. This one, make it a little bit bigger. We're warmed up a little bit. The spine has moved a bit. And then reach the arms back up. And take a bigger twist to the right. Can you bring your gaze a little bit over that right shoulder? And gently face front. Now we're going to use our torso like a spoon and we're going to stir. So we're going to stir this big pot. See if you can let your shoulders kind of dip in. And as you dip in, you're going to feel a little stretch through the back of the shoulder blades. So that's what we're going for. Let's pause and reverse and go the other way. Good, now we're going to do some seated cats and cows. You could do these definitely from a chair, same thing. And if you're comfortable on your hands and your knees, you can get a little more joyful movement from doing them on your hands and your knees, but it's not necessary. So we're going to inhale. We're sliding the belly and the chest and the gaze forward and up. There's a big curve in the back of the spine. And then we're going to exhale. We're scooping out the belly, rounding the spine behind us, tucking the chin, and bringing the shoulders forward. Let the hands slide to the front of the knees. And then inhale, bring the hands towards your hip crease as you slide your chest and your gaze up and forward. Exhale, curl and round, scooping out the belly, really engaging. And then inhale, slide forward for cow. Exhale, round for cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And then I want you to sit up nice and tall. Okay, so we've moved the spine. You have other videos available to you. You probably remember enough from our classes that you could throw in any other movements that you wanted, but that's probably enough for us to be able to sit comfortably for about 5 minutes. So we're gonna breathe for about 2, and then we're gonna sit for another 2 or 3 minutes. So, I'm estimating. If you were new to meditation, if you have any kind of faith background, no matter what your faith practice is, you are familiar with praying. So that is your piece where you're doing the outward energy, where you're making your request, you're making your feelings known, you're sharing, you're sending energy, okay? Meditation is partnered with that. So when I do my personal practice, I do include that outward energy piece, the prayer piece, and then meditation is more like receiving. You're sitting still. The verse is, sit still and know that I am God. No matter what your faith practice is, there is something very similar to that, where we are sitting still and quieting ourselves. And that's where we receive, all of a sudden, you'll receive clarity on something. It could be something simple like, oh, that's why that face mask that I sewed didn't work right. I had the rectangle facing the wrong direction. So when I did this happened, can you tell? folds. That's why there wasn't enough room. I had it facing the wrong direction. Just simple things like that to really big things that you've been wrestling with, like big tweaks that need to be made, maybe in a relationship or the use of your energy as a whole. So it can be anything, and I'm going to be perfectly honest. What I'm going to demonstrate here is not for everyone. If you know that you are really interested in meditation and it's really, really hard for you, like you feel like you're going to jump out of your skin, then I'm going to recommend that you maybe download the audiobook. I think it's called Stay Woke by Justin Michael Williams, and he teaches a method of meditation called freedom meditation. It is not for everybody. It is very diverse. But for the average person that just can't, there's a lot of stuff that you need to work through. That practice and the way that he steps you through it is pretty helpful. So just throwing that out there. All right, so we're going to do a breathing practice where we're going to breathe fully in and fully out for about 20 rounds of breath. I might only do about 15 just for the sake of the video. And then at the end of that, I'll coach you. So we're going to be a little more vigorous and a little quicker pace than normal with our fully in, fully outs. And then we're going to slow down the last exhale. And we're going to hold it. We're going to retain our breath and not breathe in for about 30 seconds. We might just do about 20 to start. Eventually you can work up to as long as you can hold your breath. I have achieved 1 minute and 5 seconds. Most days I'm like between 34 and 50. But anything from 20 above is really great, especially if you're just getting started. So at the end of that, we'll breathe in, and we're going to hold that breath for 15 seconds. And then we're going to go back to our normal breath, and then we'll do a second round together. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to take a big inhale, exhale. That's 2. That's 4. Fully exhale, that's 5. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, 8. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale, 10. Inhale, 12. 14. 16. 18. One more. Cough. Now inhale. Let this exhale out really slow. At the end of the exhale, hold. We're still holding. You're going to feel some pressure build up. Let it kind of spread through the body. Remind yourself that we have the ability to hold our breath. We swim underneath the water. We hold our breath to take an x-ray, all kinds of reasons. Let that warmth radiate through the body. Go ahead, take a big inhale. We're holding this for 15. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe and go back to your normal breath. We're going to let ourselves recuperate for a couple rounds. I do this with a stopwatch. So I do my 20 rounds of breath, and then when I'm at the end of the exhale and I hold my breath, I hit a stopwatch so I can kind of watch how long that I'm doing it for. I really try to lower my heart rate. I really try to let that pressure that seems like it's building up spread through the body. Some days I'm really good at it, and that's when I get to about a minute. And other days that pressure makes me feel panicky. So that is one of the reasons why I do this practice every day, because I have had bronchitis and pneumonia. Not a lot, I'm not a high risk or anything, but I remember that sense of panic. And because of the COVID-19 affecting the respiratory system for a lot of people, it's that sense of panicking that can cause the infection to do a little more, make it harder for us to recover. So we want to do everything we can, no matter we have a common cold or just on a daily preventative measure. Ideally, we are partnering with this body, mind, spirit to create an environment within our physical body that promotes health and wellness. So we can do that by learning to create environments intentionally where we work really hard, creating environments intentionally where we challenge ourselves a little bit mentally, create a little bit of disturbance where we might feel a little bit of panic creeping in, and then remind ourselves, no, it's okay, I can breathe for one more round of breath and get through this. That is this practice of doing this on a regular basis. All of the stuff that we're doing is just a practice. Even your prayer, like if that's part of your faith practice, it's a practice. It's just something we do again and again and again. And the more we do it, the more we build the skill. The more we do it, the more confidence we have, the more calm we have. And what we learn is all this stuff that we're practicing then translates out into our day, right? So, we feel like maybe you're waiting somewhere at the doctor's office, and wow, if I'm here waiting for another 15 minutes, I'm going to be late for my next thing, right? And we start feeling that sense of panic or concern rise up in us, and we can use our breathing techniques, we can use our meditation practice to kind of allow that to, like the sensation to kind of spread and relax and calm, and then remind ourselves that in this moment, I have what I need. In this moment, I'm okay. And that's all I have. I can't live in the past. I don't know the future. It's all about this acceptance that, I'm doing what I think will help, but I don't know, right? It's giving ourselves room in our mind, room in our body, room in our day to be okay with what's happening, and to be okay with we're doing what we think is going to move us forward on a healthy path, but we're not ultimately the great all-knowing, right? We're just not. And learning to be okay with that. So let's do one more round together. And now that you kind of have a more feeling for why we do this, and is it okay that I'm feeling a little bit of a panic? Yeah, absolutely. Just see if when that panic creeps in, can you calm yourself down for one more round of breath before breathing in? That's all. And if I hold us to a certain length of time, and you've hit your panic button before I say breathe in, guess what? You have permission to breathe in whenever you want. There's no one, you're not going to get a demerit for breathing in sooner. So that's the other thing I want you to realize when you're practicing this on your own with a stopwatch. Who cares? It's practice, right? So like I said, there have been days where I panicked probably at 24 seconds. And I don't beat myself up about it. I say, okay, well, let's do another round. I can beat that. and I do. It still might not be my record day. I haven't quite figured out what my triggers are to get the best length of time, and I don't worry about it. I just practice. Okay, so let's do it again. We're going to fully in and out. 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 That's 5. Fully in and out. We're only going to do 10. Fully in and out. Fully in and out. Fully in and out. Now fully in. Slow down the exhale. We're going to hold it. We're holding. We're letting that pressure slowly spread through the body. We're noticing how we're feeling. It might feel warm and tingly. It might feel like pressure. We're allowing ourselves to be calm and let the wave evenly distribute itself through the body. Remind ourselves that we've already done this, that we don't need to panic. And breathe in. Holding for 15. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. Awesome. So now you would sit comfortably and maybe do your prayer time. And then I would encourage you to sit for, if you're thinking you can't do it, set a timer for 3 minutes. You can sit for 3 minutes in silence and just try to notice what's coming up, right? So if you've never done it before, you kind of follow your inhale all the way in. And then follow the exhale all the way out. And eventually kind of get rid of being aware of the inhale. And just lightly stay aware of the exhale. Just something to lightly hold your attention in the present moment while letting the mind slow down a little bit. And that's really all you're looking for. It's kind of like training a hive of bees, right? It would take a long time of you creating a certain whistle for the bees, for them to all hear and come back at the same time, right? I mean, it'd be pretty hard. So your thoughts are like that. You're going to keep finding one of them, wandering off, and the practice is just bringing it back to this moment. Not getting upset, and just coming back to your breath. But what I like about meditation is those things that keep wandering us off, right? We want to just quickly observe, well, what was I thinking about? What was that thought? And just note it without dwelling on it, without following it to its end, following the rabbit trail. Don't do that. Just acknowledge what it was and then come back. So sometimes you can do it by maybe putting it into the category of like thinking about a tennis court, right? So this side being a thought from the past, and this side being a thought from the future. So, a worry, an anxiousness, or a dwelling, a disappointment, that kind of thing. So you can kind of launch the ball of your thought into what side of the court the thought was categorized, right? So, a past, a future. And then you kind of, at the end, maybe tally the results, and it kind of gives you an indication of what's going on internally with you, right? So one of the reasons we do meditation is to learn more about ourselves, self-study. We do it to slow things down, to be more clear with our thought, to be more open to possibilities that we would not be aware of without this practice. Okay, so let's go back to noticing the breath. Inhale in and exhale out. You want to sit tall, either supported or out in the open. intentions serve you as you come away from your chair, come away from your bed, come away from your mat? If so, restate it to yourself. If you need a new one, come up with it. I want to thank you guys for indulging me, listening to me share more of what yoga is, right? So yoga is much more than just the movements that we do as we stand and move around. And thank you for being open to practicing with me in a little deeper level. And I hope this helps you maneuver through this time of quarantine with a little more peace. And honestly, I'm trying to embrace having a little extra time to do some things that maybe I don't normally do. So I'm challenging myself a little bit to learn or work on things that I've been a little uncomfortable with. So maybe this can be one of those things for you to say, hey, you know what, normally this is not my cup of tea, but why not give it a try and just see, you know? You could even journal your results and say, okay, after sitting today, this is how I felt. As I sit today, which is a step 2 meditation that I do highly encourage, keeping a journal, and it might be a sentence, it might be a couple words, but that's a piece to the self-study that can really be enlightening. You could even create a journal about your experience during the quarantine. This is a historic event. Why not, you know? It's awesome. So anyway, I would love to hear back from you guys. I miss you guys so much. And I would love to hear how you're doing, some of the things that you're doing. And yeah, so let me know if you've used this practice, how it was for you. And then I will try to do another asana or traditional movement class practice for you, because I know it's been a while. I have a lot going on with my family, so haven't been doing as much with the videos. But I wish you well. Wishing you each health, happiness, safety, and peace. Namaste.